this weekend, but I suppose you could really say that about every game. You know, Chesterfield currently being second in the table. What are you expecting from them on Saturday?
No, very good side. Obviously, the appointment of Paul is, there's a sensation to that because of the level Paul's worked at and recently worked at. So, all of these things make for an improved team, an improved football club. And, tough games. Very tough game.
And a familiar face to Yeovil fans, obviously, is Joe Quigley, currently playing for Chesterfield after being with Yeovil earlier this season. Is it easier to prepare for an opponent's attack when you know how and when someone plays, like Joe already?
No, not at all. No, there's 10 others, isn't there?
Well, just like the I suppose Joe being an attacker, is it easier to game plan maybe? No. Okay.
No, he's less than 10% of the team, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's no idea. You have to plan on how a team plays, not how Joe plays. I mean, we know I get your point, but we know Joe and we know some of his attributes, but they may use Joe's attributes in a different way to which we use them. Unless you're in the dressing room or on the training pitch with the staff and with the squad that he's in, and they could be using something else. They might want something completely different from Joe, completely different from what I wanted. So it's all we know is what we saw as Joe's strengths when he played for us. So no, there's no acceleration in getting to an idea or a plan of how they're going to attack just because Joe's in there.
Okay, fair enough. And let's touch on the midweek 1-1 result against Maidenhead. A tough run of away games recently, as I've mentioned. A few more coming up as well, obviously. What did you make of Tuesday's game? And do you feel like the almost consistent run of away games is taking a toll on some of the players?
No, I think we're playing very well. I think we're going through another transition of our progress, which is to try and be a better attacking team, to be a bit braver in possession, to be a little bit more constructive, to address certain areas of our attacking play that haven't been good enough. But in all fairness to the players, we have been defensively driven in terms of our practice and our work. So I think the away games, I thought we were by far the better team against Eastleigh and by far the better team Tuesday night. I mean, there's very few times, even in my, heavily dominant first year team, we had 60% of the ball on Tuesday night. I can't remember ever having 60% of the ball while I was here. So there are signs that we are progressing. What we have to try and ensure doesn't happen is, as we progress offensively, that we reduce our defensive organisation, because we're trying to be a little bit bigger and open and pass the ball better. So, you've got to try and find a balance. And it's it's a difficult transition to make sure that you're very solid and defensively organised and aggressive and assertive in your play, to then be constructive in your mind and your brain's slow enough to work out decisions and scenarios accordingly is it's a tough thing, especially for players who are in their first campaign. So I think the last two away games we played very well. We're creating more and more chances, and I'm pleased with that development in the team.
And a quick word on how you think, one former player turned coach, Charlie Lee, also how Olafay Olamola has slotted back into the Yeovil setup as well.
Well, Charlie's he is what he is, morning, noon and night, so he hasn't taken any time at all. The players were very pleased to see him when he turned up. Charlie and I had kept it quite quiet, so there was no real whispers, and Charlie rocked up and bounced around like he does with his, he's got a brilliant character, Charlie, and his coaching's been excellent. been coaching every day. He's infectious. He's got great enthusiasm, brilliant energy, unbelievable energy, and no, he's been great company. He always was good company, Charlie. And even just before I came up to do the press, discussing Chesterfield and what he's seen and what he thinks. This is not a shy and retiring character. I know I've only been here 4 days, but I'm going to tell you what I think type character, and that's brilliant for me, absolutely brilliant. So it's nice to be arguing with Charlie again. Fella's been great, absolute great. Just needs that resilience through games and that fitness, which was a telltale in the other night when we had to bring him off. I don't think he'll make Saturday, but I think if he doesn't make Saturday, that'll be beneficial in the same way how we've worked with Lawson. It'll be beneficial for the long run. But yeah, fella just needs. He hasn't played for 3 years. I don't think he's played more than 15 games in the season for 3 years. So just need to make sure that he is built to be resilient and robust and that can carry the rest of the season for us.
Great. Thanks for chatting, Darren. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Hold on, that's better. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. You?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good.
Would it be fair to say that your concerns about bad refereeing sort of came to the head again a little bit on Tuesday night?
No. There's always. I think we always, blame referees when we don't get decisions. It's only human nature. We see. I've watched Wilkinson. The second goal's offside. Great decision. No problem. I've watched Wilkinson's goal so many times. That's never been a foul. Never been a foul. Yeah. So I've no idea why he chalked that one off. That was a perfectly good goal, which is a shame. But that's the way it is. But that's the side of our game that I think we're improving at in recent weeks. Our attacking set plays have got better and better. So I was really pleased that we are starting to create more moments from those situations. I just thought he was put. I mean, the handball first half on the edge of the box against Tom Knowles. I could not believe it. Those decisions. I mean, he gives a free kick 19 yards from goal, so you give the opponent a free 19-yard shot. I think the fella hits the bar. I think Sparks hits the bar with his free kick.
Yeah,
it's madness. But you don't get anything from a. I mean, we're subsequently discussing with the FA now about a punishment to our players because Tom Knowles got thrown to the floor at Eastleigh, and we went over to the referee to say, can't do that. I mean, he was thrown to the floor. If you ran up in the street and did that, that's assault. And I can't work out where they're coming from, ever. It's like, I can't work it out. But there you go. Listen, I'm 19-1 down to the FA, so I might as well.
We've discussed it before, though, haven't we, Darren, in the context that, one day he's going to, a referee, whoever it might be, he's going to make a decision that it could cost you your job. I'm not trying to be negative now, but I mean, just, if they can't get it right, the implications go farther than just in making a bad decision on the game.
No, absolutely, I agree.
But having said all that, there was a lot of positives to come out of the game, I thought, on Tuesday night. I mean, the back four is still looking really solid and a great combination, really. Lawson was back, albeit 60-odd minutes, wasn't it? I think he played something like that.
Yeah.
And Alex Bradley looked much more comfortable and playing well. So, a lot of pluses there.
No, very much so. Very much so. It was. I wanted to be a little bit more creative on Tuesday night and putting Alex and Lawson in ahead of Staunton, in front of Staunton. Sorry, just gives us a few more technicians. tomorrow might be a different story. We might go with a different side of the game, but it's not, Alex deserved a start. He's worked hard. I've been critical of him behind the scenes in terms of his training, but I would say for the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's really shown a good hunger and desire to play. Like I said, the only thing now will be making sure that we play him in games that are right for us, and we also play him in games where he's fresh. That would have been his first 85 minutes in a league game for a while, even though he played full game last week. It'll be his first league game, which will be a different intensity. And I thought he did great. I really like Alex. I think Alex has got a lot of potential, a lot of really great features, but he has to understand that everyone wants to play, and it's who out of everyone wants to play the most. That's it, and that's why. But Dale Gorman went through the same process when he was a couple of years younger. Dale's playing his first proper campaign really for in England, for a few years. So they all go through this period. They all go through it, and some come out the better, and some don't come out of it. But Alex has shown good fight, good determination, and he's got some good qualities. Alex, he's got some really good qualities, and we very much appreciate him here. But it's it's all about trying to put the right group out. That's the art of it, and making sure you meet the needs of the game in the game, and how people are training sometimes doesn't come into consideration. Sometimes it does. It just depends on the competition in the team, and form and things like that. So, but no, Alex and Lawson's been fabulous, absolutely fabulous. I mean, a real breath of fresh air for us. And when I talk about us working on the attacking side of the game more, it's because of Lawson. These things change because of players and their availability. So the fact that we were able to re-sign Lawson meant that we had a really good attacking, constructive player, and we can give him the ball in different positions, and we could give Worthington or Barnett or Bradley or Gorman, and it just gives us a different feel. But that's what squad depth gives you, if and when you can have that.
Absolutely. But is there going to come a point soon where, if you're going to make inroads into getting into those playoffs, which obviously I know you want to do and we all want you to do, is there going to be a point where you're going to have to sort of almost take the shackles off and say, well, let's just go for it now and just total all-out attack, so to speak?
No.
No?
You can't, can you? You can't play. It's not Champ Manager. It's not. We're not playing a computer game here. We're playing football. You got to play the game properly. I mean, a top Premier League player now has the ball for 90 seconds to 2 minutes. They have 88 minutes without the ball. They can't always be attacking. You've got to play the game properly. And so the fact that we're always in games at the moment is great for us. We've got a good defensive foundation. Am I all of a sudden going to start asking Morgan Williams to really get to the byline and start crossing with his left foot, even though he's a right-footed centre half? That'd be madness. I'd have to change Morgan Williams. I'd have to put someone else at left back. So, I think when you look at the longest winning run we've had since I've been here, which was this season, we played a mixture of players. We've played a left back in midfield most of the year, and he's been a revelation. Jordan Barnett, an absolute revelation. So, we've had to duck and dive because of our availability and our depth, and it's just about trying to find that consistency. But the scary thing about it is I think we're 1 loss in 6. We're only 1 win in 6. So it's we're on a fine knife edge now, and we can either tip one way or tip the other. But with what this group of players has had to contend with all year, and how they've come together, it's a big turnaround in the summer, and how they've come together and how their age and things like that, and the way they've kept so many clean sheets and been defensively so committed. I've got nothing but admiration for the group. Nothing but admiration. We all feel the the vibe around the club. We all feel it. We're not naive and dopey, And the fact that they've kept focused and they've kept concentrated throughout this period, again, I've got nothing but admiration from them.
So, sadly, now, do you think Paul Cook will have had enough time to put his stamp on the Chesterfield side, or do you think he'll still be finding his way a little bit in the first week or so?
I don't know. Paul's an incredibly experienced guy. He's a really nice man, very nice man, and has been a very successful coach, promotions. So it's a brilliant appointment, and I haven't seen him for a few years, but good guy, really good guy.
Well, best of luck on Saturday, Darren. Bring back 3 points, please.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Morning, Darren. How are you doing?
All right, Paul. You?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
Good.
How's the incomings of Lee and Feller and Lawson? Has that given you the lift in the dressing room that you felt you needed, kind of at the end of January?
Well, Lawson's always been in the dressing room. Obviously, his availability is. We've not had him available as a player. He's definitely given us a lift in game, without a doubt. Very, very good footballer. Fella's quite quiet. He's not, he's not all consuming. Doesn't take over the dressing room like in year one. We signed Mark Richards in January, and Mark took over a dressing room. Really, he took over a dressing room of seasoned players, but. Fella's at a different stage in his life and his career. Charlie's magnificent at stimulating the dressing room and the energy in it. So he's had exactly that type of effect. Obviously, he can't affect the game in play anymore in terms of his playing ability, but his character's been fantastic. Players like working with him. He's got a real authority about him. So that transition from player to coach hasn't been difficult for him at all. He's been coaching anyway for a couple of years, and I think he's found it quite smooth. He's definitely acted in that way, and like he's a brilliant character, brilliant character.
It's probably not really on your mind, but the Somerset Premier Cup draw was made. You got another home tie at
Who we got?
Odd Down or Wells.
Pardon?
Odd Down in Bath or Wells.
Right.
They're both in the same league as Cheddar, and one of them will be making their way to Hewish Park. It would be a good experience for one of those, won't it?
I hope not. I hope not, but yeah, I understand your point. But yeah, we'll try and address it in the same way. What round are we in now?
Semi-final.
Yeah, so listen, we'll try and win it. We tried to win the first one. We'll try and win the next one and see what happens. But I think I've been unfairly criticised for the Somerset Cup and the teams. We've only got one team. I don't know what people want me to do. Just want me to go and get Tony off the street if he's walking past at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night. Do you fancy a game for Yeovil tonight? So it's. I've enjoyed watching some of the young ones out of our college programme. I've enjoyed doing the games and giving people game time, and it's been a decent. I love football, just because there's the BBC here or BT Sport or here, it doesn't matter to me. I love football, and I've been very fortunate in my couple of decades that I've only had 4 months out of work, and those 4 months without football were, they weren't very fun. So I like taking all the games. I like doing everything as best to my ability, and I also think it's respectful to the club and the community. So we'll carry on playing them and do what we've done previously, or try and do what we've done previously, and we haven't taken anyone for granted. I'm a big believer that 11 motivated footballers or sports people, I'll be as PC as I can there. I think there are, anyone with real motivation levels as a team can create or achieve great things. So we've never once looked at any of these teams and tried to, demean them or undermine them. We've tried to play properly.
The Yeovil's prided itself on being a family club, and I've just seen that the partnership's going to be with her game too. Just how important is that going to be coming up?
Sorry, I don't understand. Say again.
They're going to be running the game, is it Grimsby? They're going to be doing it for her game too, to highlight having women in
Right,
games.
okay.
And a better experience for them.
Look, women's football was a huge part of my early career. You know, I had 5 years in women's football as a coach, and I had, I think, 2.5 as manager, something like that. 2.5 and 2.5 maybe. Might have been 3 and 2. It was a huge part of my sort of early stages of coaching, learning how to coach, and it is a different way of coaching, especially back then. You know, I'm talking, this will be 20 years ago now, even earlier. And I remember, you know, trying to practice my UEFA B. I think I was 17 or 18. Yes, it will be 20 years ago. It was a different, you know, men's football and kids football. You coached in a different way than you do now. And women's football was the same. So you had to adjust and adapt. And I'd be coaching, you know, young people, young boys and girls of a day time, and then you go and coach a senior men's side, and then you go and coach a late. You have to adapt. So it was a huge part of my, you know, education and my sort of upbringing as a football coach, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. They were fabulous to work with. So receptive. Concentration levels I always felt were higher between, you know, the women's game and the men's game. I thought the women's game was far more in tune to getting as much out of the session as possible. And you know, I've got friends now that I coached back then. They're lifelong friends who I respect and have a lot of admiration for as footballers, but great people, absolutely brilliant people. And you know, even the people that allowed me to come in and coach. A guy called Dave Bowie allowed me to go in and coach. Ex-Navy, brilliant values, morals, brilliant, just tough and organised, and you learn so much from these people. And it was a brilliant period in my education. So the women's game has come so far. When I was doing it, I think Fulham were the only professional club in the country, and they had everyone. Yankee, Chapman, they had just everyone. Anyone but everyone. And Arsenal were there, and, you know, very competitive. But now the game's gone to a whole new level. I mean, full-time playing contracts. They train at these huge training grounds now alongside the men's sides. You know, I spent some time at Manchester City before I came to Yeovil. You see the women's side training, you know, 100 yards from the senior men's side. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and right as well, absolutely right as well, that they get the same opportunities, you know, and benefits of that the senior men's teams get. And it's come such a long way, women's football, such a long way.